Hey y'all, iRick Guy here, and within this video I want to talk about electric vehicles, EVs. Are electric vehicles evil? Now, you're probably already getting riled up. You're like, oh man, I know where this video is going to go. Well, you may be surprised, so I encourage you to watch this video from start to finish. So I'm going to track back. This is not political, so I don't want to hear your political rants or whatever. Feel free to drop any comments or questions that you may have within this video's comment area down below. But just wanted to kind of illustrate my thought process, and I want y'all to tell me, am I right? Is my logic flawed? If so, why do you feel that it is? But looking back, let's track back to 2018 or so. 2018, if you're familiar with that year, you know that 2018 we had a rock solid economy, everything was moving along. And then, of course, without even having to explain what happened, we went into 2020, and you know what happened in 2020. But it seems convenient, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me what you think. But it seems too convenient that there were forced lockdowns, which limited production. That's why we've got supply chain issues and assembly line issues and all of that now, because everything was locked down and the cost of goods went radically up. We had a change of, I don't want to call it leadership, but we had a change of a political candidate in the United States, and that further fueled the fire. But so where we are now, in 2020, we had the lockdowns, and then we had the government. It was really weird. They seemed genuinely concerned, to my knowledge, one of the first times ever, in people's health, and they were trying to force all these things, and it was just weird. Well, we get out of that, and then there's all these incentives. The supply chain's been jacked up. The vehicles that people could find, and I'm talking about standard ICEs, what they call it, internal combustion engine, not combustible engine, but internal combustion engine. A standard gas-powered vehicle. Because of the supply chain issues that were created as product of what happened in 2020, it was a convenient time to really push hard the electronic vehicles, the EVs. And this is what really concerns me, is that, and this may not be applicable for everyone everywhere, but there seems to be a tax incentive for a lot of people in a lot of geographies to go with the electronic vehicle. That seems fishy. Why would a government that has been historically known to want to increase taxes, why, out of the kindness of their heart, the government, why would they want to give back? There's something going on here with electric vehicles, rather. And you might also notice that the standard gasoline vehicles, now a lot of even the big manufacturers that one would never assume would go electric, because it's the gas-powered vehicle that makes owning and driving that vehicle fun. But we're even seeing a lot of those companies starting to phase out their gas-powered vehicles. This is extremely concerning. The gas vehicles that are still available, especially SUVs and trucks, the prices are astronomical. Now, there are some gas-powered vehicles that can still be obtained at a somewhat affordable price, and actually I feel like I've got one of them. I've got a 2024 Acura Integra, which is a really cool gas-powered vehicle, and in today's pricing standard, according to today's pricing, the price of that vehicle wasn't that bad at all. And it's one I plan to drive for a long time. But if you connect the dots here, and maybe my analysis is flawed, and I want you to comment below, and if you feel that's the case, tell me why. But we've seen a big thing that happened in 2020, perfect storm. We've disrupted this. It disrupted the supply chain. Now there is a perceived push for people to want to get an electric vehicle. Now keep in mind, even with the people that are eligible and might receive those tax credits or whatever for getting an EV, if you look at the prices of electric, I keep wanting to say electronic, if you look at the prices of electric vehicles, they're astronomical. I mean, even to get into a base model, I mean, I don't want to misquote here, but I think if you're looking at a brand like Tesla, for example, I think the little tiny Tesla, I think it's still in the 40s. And I mean, that's crazy. So they try to put the environmental spin into the picture, which is, well, we don't want, gas is bad, blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing that people don't think about, is that if there was a mass adoption of electric vehicles, which I hope there won't be, and I don't think there will be, if there was a mass adoption of electric vehicles, and let's say hypothetically gas-powered vehicles, ICE, internal combustion engine vehicles, were banned or discontinued or whatever, it would in essence force people into these electric vehicles. Now, do you think that if that ever happened, I hope it doesn't, but if it ever happened, do you think that the government would be so kind and say, oh, we're going to offer tax incentives and this, that, and the other? I think it's a trap. I think it's a well-orchestrated trap, because if the powers that, and this isn't an individual or a particular political party, but the powers that really control the world, if this happened, then what's been set up is people are forced to have to go electric. Well, guess what charges an electric vehicle? Electricity. Now, do you think that electricity prices aren't going to go through the roof if there's mass forced adoption of electric vehicles? If you don't, you probably need to reevaluate your thought process. See, this is, and people are like, man, why don't you like electric vehicles? They're so cool, and some of them self-drive and this, that, and the other. I like the technology. I'll tell you that. But what I don't like is what I feel is the real reason for the perceived, it's gone beyond an encouraged adoption of these electric powered vehicles. It's now more of it's not a forced adoption yet, but if they discontinue gas powered vehicles, well, if they're not making any more, are they going to say, well, if you own a gas powered vehicle, you're only eligible to drive it for X number of months or X number of years? See, some states like California, and fortunately I don't live in California, but I know they've got, and comment below and tell me all the details, but they've got a set of emission standards, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of things that people have to do, and it may only be California. I'm not aware of any other states, but they have to test the gas-powered vehicle and this, that, and the other. But imagine if they took that to the next level and they said, oh, you can't even drive a gas-powered vehicle because we're not even going to allow it. So in a scenario like that, the government would, in essence, ban gas-powered vehicles, which would force people to do a few things. Well, how far are you? Can you ride a bicycle? Can you pedal? Can you walk? Can you catch a subway or a bus? Or do you want to buy an electric vehicle? Now, the other thing about an electric vehicle that people may not realize is, let's say hypothetically you get one that's got a lot of range. You still got to charge that sucker up. And do you think you're going to charge it up in your wall outlet in your house like you do an iPhone or a laptop? You got to buy the charge. I mean, there's the cost of the car, which is super inflated in price, in my opinion, even after any sort of tax credit that may be available. There's a super inflated price of the car. There's the increase in electricity to keep it charged. You look at the dollars there, look at a fuel efficient ICE vehicle that uses gas, look at your gas spend for a fuel efficient gas vehicle. I really like hybrids. I think they're great because you get enhanced miles per gallon, but you're not locked into having to plug in your vehicle. But look at all those numbers, because people are like, they think it's such a good thing. Now, if you have, let's say you had a solar array, you had an abundance of solar panels and batteries for your solar, for your off-the-grid solar system, you could in essence create free renewable energy and charge your vehicle with that. But that would take a lot of solar panels, a lot of batteries. There's cost involved with that. So there's really no way that I'm aware of, and I know there's spin. People can use political spin, people can use technological spin, they can use a lot of different persuasive techniques to try to spin electric vehicles as being a good thing. Like I said, I like the technology. I think it's cool. But I don't like where I feel that this may be heading. And correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever seen, and we've had a few weird things. And looking back at 2020, and it wasn't for everyone, but there were certain people, I guess if they wanted to keep their career, they had to take they had to use the medicine that the government was forcing them to take if they wanted to continue to work in that profession. And to my knowledge, it wasn't everyone. I was able to, fortunately, I was able to avoid having to take that medicine in 2020, and I was thrilled. So that was weird. And then this tax credit that they give to some people for electric vehicles, that is weird. When has the government actually cared about its people? And tell me differently if you can. The government wants to collect taxes. And if anyone thinks that these EVs are, you're going to get discounts, this, that, and the other, you're going to have your cost of living day to day is going to be radically reduced because you're driving an EV. Oh, the government offers tax incentives for driving an EV. If you drank the Kool-Aid and you think that's how it's going to be, watch this video, comment on this video in, let's say, 5 years, and tell me how it is then. Am I a fool? Was I right? I'm not here to start an argument. I'm not here to spark a politically motivated dispute. That's not me. I'm just here to share my personal observations after connecting what I feel are the dots. I mean, they're events that I've seen with my own eyes, I've heard with my own ears. So I know that these things have happened. And that's not turning on the news and being informed. These were my ears and my eyes and actually seeing what's happened. And it's, to me, it's terrifying because I think big test number one occurred in 2020, and that was people's willingness to just, we're going to go out and do this, we're going to trust the government and we're going to follow their medical recommendation. Hey, I know people that did. That's fine. That's a choice they made. But it was weird that the government did that, and it's frightening how many people potentially did it without questioning, is this the right thing to do? It's scary, and I bet a lot of people have regrets. And some people think, maybe they still think they made the right decision. That's an individual's decision to make. It's not the government's decision. And now with the EVs, the government already knows, well, they've known this a long time. The government already knows that people will blindly follow a direction or an idea if they put even the slightest perceived incentive to do it. And with the EVs right now, it's the tax refund, or not tax refund, but tax credit or whatever. It's getting people into the ecosystem. In this case, electric vehicles, EVs. It's getting people into the ecosystem. It's a push to try to ultimately ban, not just discontinue, but ban the use of gas-powered vehicles, which would in turn force people into driving these electric vehicles that are extremely overpriced. It will rocket electricity, not just for your cars, but think about it, in your home. Your TVs use electricity, your video game systems use electricity, your computers use electricity, your alarm clock uses electricity, your refrigerators, your air conditioning unit, the list goes on. So if you think that standing behind this movement and you're somehow doing the right thing, or maybe you're just in it because you think the technology is cool. like I said earlier, I think the technology is cool, but I'm not going to dive in because of what I just said. And there's also the component that you will seldom hear within, and I don't watch the news. I refuse to flip on the TV. But there's something that you probably won't hear, and that's the replacement cost of the batteries for these electric vehicles. Now, granted, if they do catch on, which I hope they don't, the price of battery production could decrease. But see, the thing they don't tell you is that the disposal of the battery, I mean, with gasoline, you're burning it up. Well, they're going to say it's eating holes in the ozone, whatever, using gasoline. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But what they don't tell you about EVs, those batteries, when those are disposed of, I mean, you're putting potentially, who knows what type of toxins in the ground, in the ocean, in a lake, wherever they dispose of it. And do you think that everybody would properly dispose of those batteries? And even if they are properly disposed of, how safe is that? I mean, are we consuming with the water that we drank some of those toxins? I mean, I'm not trying to freak anybody out here. I'm just stating what I feel should be obvious. And if my opinions are incorrect, please correct me below in the comments, because I want to hear your thoughts. I mean, these are my thoughts. Hey, did you like what I said? Did it open your ears and open your eyes? Or are you just so mad? It's like, man, he's an idiot. He's a dumb hillbilly. He just wants to drive his ICE vehicle. And see, that's the other component now too, is that they have ramped up. I mean, especially looking at trucks and SUVs, gas-powered trucks and gas-powered SUVs. I mean, they're getting up there in the price territory of a house. I mean, we're talking $100,000 trucks or whatever. So they're pricing traditional gas vehicles out of the reach of most. And well, there's a plan there. Make those gas-powered vehicles so expensive that people will say, well, what are my other options? And then at that point, the already overpriced electric vehicles seem like a discount. So, well, to be continued. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was uplifting, and appreciate your viewership. Be sure to subscribe, ring that bell when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.
Hey y'all, IRIX here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.